Hello everybody, it's with immense honor and pleasure that today we at Jain, deemed to be university, have with us Dr. Mohammed Yunus from Bangladesh, a Nobel Laureate. Before we begin, I have to admit it's an absolute honor and a pleasure for me to be in front of your vast experience and your knowledge scale. I'd like to bring my questions from your experience, sir. How was your journey from being a student, then to a teacher, and then to start off the Grameen Bank, which went on to become a different way the world looks at microfinance and microcredit today?
Well, it's circumstances that kind of pushed me into the work that I do. And I saw extreme poverty right around the university where I was teaching. And I was trying to see if I can make myself some way useful to them, because I don't know what their problem is. I wanted to see if any single person's problem I can be of some help in addressing that. That would be a great pleasure for me. So I started doing that, trying to understand tiny things every day and see if I can be of some use to them. And in the process, I learned a lot. And then I saw the loan sharking in the village, and I started lending money myself so that they don't have to go to the loan shark and don't get become victims of the loan shark. And that thing grew, and they were so happy that it happened to them. So I wanted to continue with that. So I thought maybe I should create a bank out of it. And ultimately I did. I created a bank, named it Grameen Bank or Village Bank. So that's how step by step things went in that direction.
Coming back to where you started from, so we do realize that 97% is the recovery rate in Bangladesh. What would you suggest the modern day banking system, with the rising NPAs, with the rising number of defaulters every day, what would you suggest could be possible steps in order to decrease the current scenario?
Very simple. Don't lend to the rich. They become defaulters. Lend to the poor people. They don't become defaulters. But they don't take this lesson. The fact that their poor people are better risk for the bank than the rich people, it has not changed their mind. So still we don't have any banking system for the poor people. This is one issue that I keep raising. I said credit or financial services is like economic oxygen for people. If we don't have oxygen, we cannot function, we collapse. If you don't have economic oxygen, people cannot be active, cannot be functional. And that's when we call them poor people. Right. The moment you correct them with the financial oxygen, suddenly they become active, alive.
Brings them to life.
They become productive. But we have not created that financial system. We have not created that financial oxygen for poor people. And Grameen Bank demonstrated that it can be done. It works. It's not a fairy tale that the way it was being told before. No, it's impossible. How can they handle money? They don't know what to do with money. Now, microcredit idea about Grameen Bank is spread all over the world.
Right.
It's not something you can say, oh, it can happen in some place. It cannot happen in our country. Microcredit now works in the United States. We have 20 branches in many cities in the United States. We have over 100,000 borrowers now. 100% repayment in every single case, not 97. So, what's the problem? People are busy making money. They have no time to look at the problem of the poor people. That's the problem.
Coming to your point, sir, when you say that India is going to have a majority youth population in a few years from now, what would you recommend as possible steps, not just to inspire, but also equip this major proportion of the population towards social entrepreneurship and microfinancing?
First of all, for young people not to wait for others to do things for themselves. Go ahead and do it themselves. One thing I kept reminding them, they have to believe that they are not be looking and running after the jobs. Job is the wrong direction for them. They should be telling themselves, we are not job seekers, we are job creators, and become entrepreneurs. Once they start becoming entrepreneurs, they can handle everything themselves. They don't have to look for somebody else to solve the problem and they walk through that road. It's not it. You solve the problem. You have the ability. And the second thing I would say, the young people of India or anywhere, that you are a lucky generation. You are lucky because you have so much technology in your possession. Your previous young generation didn't have that. That makes you very, very powerful young people compared to any other generation in history. You are the most powerful generation in the entire human history.
Absolutely.
Use this power. Use your power, access to the technology. Not only you change yourself, you change the world. Why do you want to live in the world that was created by some people who didn't have any idea? You look at the world, you decide what you want, and make it happen. Build the roads to get there. You can do that. You don't have to wait for others.
So what could be 3 conclusive steps we could take during higher education and during university levels to imbibe this sort of a thinking in today's teenagers?
Well, it will take time for changing those education systems. You listen what they say, but you create your own education. Don't believe what they say. You figure out what you want to say. If you follow the same old roads, you are trapped. You are trapped because these were designed for people who didn't know much.
So
they didn't have the technology. You are a completely different human being. As a matter of fact, you are a superhuman being. You look like human being, but you are a superhuman being. Why should you follow the things that the human beings do? You do the superhuman stuff. You create your own stuff. They won't know how to create your stuff. You create your own stuff.
So it's more about using the resources that are at our disposal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Be creative.
Yes.
Don't listen to the people who have done the other things and created all the problems.
Right.
Their advice will only continue the problems. So get rid of those advice. You create your own thing.
We've seen how Grameen Bank has been extremely helpful towards women in particular. So how much do you believe is gender-based financing impactful to an economy?
The reason we went to women, because I criticized the conventional bank, they don't listen to the women, they don't go to the women. So I said, why don't we start with women?
Someone needs to make a change.
Absolutely. So I said, they were saying it doesn't work. They're always saying negative things. And if you believe they're negative things, you never get started. I said, forget about it. I'll try whether it can be done or cannot be done.
And it's given 100% record.
Absolutely, indeed. That's how it is.
And last question I would like to ask.
Okay.
A small message to the student community like me out there from your side.
Change the world. You have the power. Use the power. First realize that you have the power. If you don't realize it, you'll feel like the same old people. Feel that you are different than the other people who were born before you. You are far more powerful than them. Feel that power. Once you feel that power, you ask yourself the question, what use I'm going to make of it? You must realize the power and then ask the question, how am I going to use it? And since you have big power, go for big things. Don't do small things with big power. It's useless. And go for it.
Absolutely inspirational, sir.
Thank
you so much. It was indeed wonderful, and nothing can describe our happiness and gratitude for having you here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.